SUVs are supposed to be practical, family-friendly machines, right? Well, some luxury automakers clearly didn't get the memo, because what you're about to see are 10 of the biggest, boldest, and most over-the-top SUVs money can buy in 2025. 10. Mercedes-Benz G580 2025, the iconic boxy giant. If there's one SUV that could be dropped onto a safari, a red carpet premiere, or an Arctic expedition and still look completely at home, it's the G-Class. The G580 of 2025 hasn't lost that iconic boxy silhouette, and honestly, that's the whole point. It's a shape that screams status from a mile away. Underneath the squared edges is a 4-liter twin-turbo V8, pushing 483 horsepower and 700 Newton-meters of torque, backed by a 9-speed automatic. It's brutally fast for a machine shaped like a brick, hitting 100 kilometers per hour in just 5.3 seconds. Inside, Mercedes does its usual trick. You get Napa leather, dual 12.3-inch screens, Burmester audio, and enough ambient lighting modes to make it feel like a nightclub on wheels. But this isn't just a poser SUV. Permanent 4-wheel drive, 3 locking differentials, and low-range gearing make it one of the few luxury SUVs that can climb mountains as well as curbs outside Gucci. At around $150,000, the G580 is more than just a car, it's a lifestyle statement. Other SUVs might look sleek and modern, but the G is unapologetically upright, massive, and intimidating. It isn't trying to blend in, it's trying to tower over you. But if you think the G-Class is bold, wait until you see what happens when Ferrari, the ultimate supercar purists, decide to build an SUV. 9. Ferrari Purosangue 2025, the bombshell SUV. When Ferrari announced it was making an SUV, purists nearly choked on their espresso. But here it is, the Purosangue, and it's every bit as outrageous as you'd expect. This isn't some watered-down crossover. It's packing a naturally aspirated 6.5-liter V12, producing 715 horsepower and revving to the heavens. That means 0-100 kilometers per hour in just 3.3 seconds, and a top speed north of 310 kilometers per hour. In other words, it's an SUV that can run with supercars, while still carrying 4 passengers and their designer luggage. The design language is unmistakably Ferrari long hood, sculpted sides, and an aggressive rear diffuser. It sits tall compared to the brand's coupes, but there's no mistaking its intent. Inside, you'll find carbon fiber trim, premium leather, and a cockpit that feels more like a fighter jet than a family hauler. The 4-seat layout is deliberately sporty, but surprisingly practical, with enough space to make road trips less of an ordeal. And what makes the Purosangue truly wild is that it isn't just a track star in disguise, it also has adaptive all-wheel drive and terrain modes, meaning, yes, you could technically take your Ferrari off-road. Whether anyone ever will is another story. At around $400,000, it's a cultural turning point as much as it is a car. The brand that swore it would never build an SUV now makes one of the most powerful and outrageous SUVs in the world. And if Ferrari is the wild-card shock entry, here's how BMW decided to play things differently. 8. BMW XM 2025, hybrid performance behemoth. Say what you will about BMW's recent design direction, but subtlety clearly isn't the goal with the XM. This SUV looks like it's been carved with a machete, all sharp lines, swollen arches, and that massive double-kidney grille that could swallow a Prius whole. Underneath the aggressive styling sits one of the most interesting powertrains in the SUV world. A 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 paired with an electric motor, producing a combined 644 horsepower. It's not just raw power, though. The XM offers around 50 kilometers of electric-only range, meaning you can creep silently through a city center before unleashing V8 thunder on the open road. It'll crack 0-100 kilometers per hour in 4.3 seconds, which is absurd for something this heavy. BMW claims an average of 8 liters per 100 kilometers in hybrid mode, though, let's be honest, nobody's buying this beast to save fuel. Inside, the XM leans hard into a driver-focused cockpit. You get dual digital screens, a crystal gear knob, premium leather, and enough sound system wattage to rattle the windows of anyone parked nearby. It's unapologetically bold, polarizing even, but that's kind of the point. Starting at about $161,000, it's aimed at buyers who want cutting-edge hybrid tech without giving up super SUV performance. The XM isn't trying to blend into the luxury SUV crowd, it's trying to dominate it, and in sheer presence, it absolutely does. This German hybrid bruiser is indeed massive, but let's see what happens when the British decide to fuse race-bred performance with tailor-made SV luxury. 7. Range Rover Sport SV 2025. Performance plus bespoke British craft. The words Range Rover usually conjure images of serene countryside drives or chauffeured city runs, but the Sport SV is a different animal altogether. This is the hooligan of the family, the one that swaps tweed jackets for carbon fiber wheels and a quad exhaust symphony. Under the hood, a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 snarls with 626 horsepower and an absurd 800 pounds-feet of torque, sending this full-size luxury SUV from 0-60 miles per hour in just 3.6 seconds. That's hypercar acceleration with room for the dog and a golf set. Yet, despite the aggressive numbers, the Sport SV hasn't abandoned its Range Rover DNA. Step inside and you're greeted with sports car-inspired heated and cooled seats, suede and leather finishes, and a 29-speaker Meridian sound system that could make the Royal Albert Hall jealous. The 13.1-inch infotainment system runs as smoothly as the adaptive suspension that keeps this hefty beast pinned in corners and graceful on long motorway stretches. Practicality isn't forgotten either. Fold-flat rear seats give surprising cargo flexibility, making it as good for a family holiday as for embarrassing sports cars at a traffic light. The wide, muscular stance and 23-inch carbon fiber wheels make the SV look every bit as commanding as it drives. This is the SUV that proves you can tow, trail, and terrorize the Autobahn in the same package, a performance Range Rover that isn't afraid to get its hands dirty. But if the Sport SV feels like a luxury athlete, the Maybach GLS takes things in the complete opposite direction. Think less track star, more rolling penthouse. 6. Mercedes Maybach GLS 6002025. The rear seat throne. Some SUVs are built for drivers, but the Mercedes Maybach GLS 600 is unapologetically built for passengers, specifically the ones sitting in the back. This is less of a car and more of a luxury suite on stilts, complete with a chauffeur option baked right into its DNA. At first glance, the signature Maybach grille, 23-inch wheels, and subtle chrome accents signal that this isn't just another GLS, it's the top shelf. Under the hood, a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 delivers 550 horsepower and a respectable 0-100 km per hour in 4.9 seconds. But let's be honest, no Maybach owner cares about that. The real magic happens behind the driver. The rear cabin is cavernous, with leather-clad recliners offering massage programs, heating, cooling, and even personalized climate zones. Wood trim, ambient lighting, and dual entertainment screens make it feel closer to a flying first-class cabin than a road vehicle. What makes the GLS 600 big isn't just its size, it's the way it makes size feel like an indulgence. There's massive headroom, legroom for days, and a presence that demands attention at every hotel valet line. Buyers? We're talking heads of state, celebrities, and business moguls who want Cullinan-level comfort without screaming quite as loudly about it. At a starting price north of $180,000 and easily creeping into the $250K range with bespoke options, the Maybach GLS 600 is a clear statement. Some SUVs are meant to be driven, but this one? It's meant to be lived in, and if Maybach is all about stretching out in comfort, Bentley's Bentayga brings an entirely different kind of indulgence, hand-built craftsmanship with a performance punch. 5. Bentley Bentayga 2025. Hand-built grandeur. The Bentayga is the kind of SUV that doesn't just roll up, it arrives. Hand-built in Crewe, England, this machine is as much a piece of craftsmanship as it is transportation. You can see it in the details, the quilted hand-stitched leather, the mirror-polished wood veneers, the Mulliner personalization options that let you choose embroidery patterns, and even metal inlays for your cabin. But don't let the elegance fool you. Beneath the sculpted exterior lies a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 producing 542 horsepower and 770 Newton of torque, good for a 0-100 km per hour sprint in just 4.5 seconds and a top speed brushing 290 km per hour. That's Grand Tourer performance wrapped in an SUV body. For those feeling eco-conscious, Bentley also offers a hybrid variant, delivering a respectable 40 kilometers of pure electric range, just enough to glide silently through the city before the V8 takes over. Inside, the cabin feels palatial. Spacious seating for 5, entertainment screens in the rear, and augmented reality navigation up front turn long journeys into indulgent experiences. A 360 degrees camera system, smart cruise control, and road surface adaptive drive modes remind you that Bentley engineering is as forward-thinking as it is traditional. Price-wise, the Bentayga starts around $210,000, but can soar well past $250,000 once bespoke options are ticked, and trust me, Bentley clients tick a lot of boxes. It's big not just in footprint, but in presence. The Bentayga doesn't shout like a Lamborghini Urus. It whispers luxury in a British accent and expects you to notice. From handcrafted elegance to the pinnacle of Range Rover luxury, coming up next is the SV, a full-size statement piece that edges us closer to the very top. 3. Aston Martin DBX 707 2025 GT SUV, racetrack DNA. If James Bond ever decided he needed to do school runs and track days in the same week, the Aston Martin DBX 707 would be his pick. This isn't just an SUV with a big badge, it's Aston Martin's grand touring heritage cranked up and jammed into a full-size chassis. The result? A twin-turbo 4-liter V8 that belts out 697 horsepower and 900 Nm of torque, with a launch time of just 3.1 seconds to 100 km per hour. That's enough to make even sports car drivers sweat when they see this high-riding giant filling their mirrors. Inside, the DBX leans into Aston's GT DNA. Sports-bolstered leather seats keep you pinned in corners, carbon fiber panels remind you this isn't a soft luxury lounge, and the driver's cockpit feels more like a fighter jet than a family hauler. The 10.25-inch touchscreen is tucked neatly into the dash. But the real entertainment comes from the tuned exhaust, a throaty, theatrical soundtrack engineered for maximum goosebumps. The big here isn't just about size, though the long wheelbase and broad stance make it one of the most commanding SUVs on the road. It's about presence, the kind that turns a Sunday grocery run into a pit lane moment. Buyers of the DBX 707 aren't just looking for luxury. They want the bragging rights of owning an SUV that handles like an Aston GT, without giving up space for luggage or passengers. If the DBX is Aston's way of sneaking a GT car into SUV clothing, the next one doesn't sneak at all. It storms in. 2. Lamborghini Urus 2025 Super SUV phenomenon. Subtlety? Never heard of it. The Lamborghini Urus is proof that if you take a raging bull and give it 4 doors and a tailgate, it still charges just as hard. This is the SUV that redefined family car for people who think a school run should feel like a qualifying lap. Its 4-liter twin-turbo V8 delivers 675 horsepower and 850 Nm of torque, launching from 0-100 km per hour in a blistering 3.3 seconds. Supercar numbers. In a 2-plus-ton SUV, the exterior is pure Lambo, DNA-sharp creases, aggressive vents, and proportions so wide and muscular it looks like it's flexing at a red light. Massive 23-inch wheels, angular LED headlights, and a stance that screams "Get out of my lane" all make the Urus impossible to ignore. Inside, it's all Alcantara, premium leather, and a futuristic twin-screen center console. A 17-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system ensures that if the V8 isn't enough, you can drown the road in concert-level clarity. But what makes the Urus truly big is cultural impact. This SUV single-handedly opened the door for performance brands to justify family-friendly supercars. Purists groaned when Lamborghini announced it, but the sales charts silenced them. Today, the Urus is the best-selling Lamborghini ever bought by supercar fans who also want rear seats, or simply people who want the wildest SUV money can buy. Yet, for all its fire and fury, the Urus still bows when the true king rolls in. Because there's only one SUV that sits at the very top of luxury, the Rolls-Royce Cullinan. 1. Rolls-Royce Cullinan 2025. The crown jewel. If other SUVs are about horsepower and handling, the Rolls-Royce Cullinan is about something bigger: absolute dominance. This is more than just transportation, it's literally a moving palace, and 2025 only pushed its opulence even further. Named after the world's largest diamond, the Cullinan shines as the SUV benchmark, delivering unparalleled luxury with the heft of a small yacht. Beneath the sculpted bonnet lies a twin-turbo 6.7-liter V12. In black badge spec, it makes nearly 600 horsepower, which is comically overkill for a 3-ton SUV. Yet, thanks to an 8-speed auto and all-wheel drive, it still hurls itself to 100 kilometers per hour in 4.5 seconds in eerie near silence. That silence is engineered, of course. Double glazing, military-grade insulation, and Rolls' famous air suspension create a ride described as a magic carpet on stilts. Inside, the Cullinan is an art gallery. Lambswool carpets underfoot, bamboo-based fabrics and open-pore wood across the cabin, and the fiber-optic starry sky headliner glowing above. Privacy curtains, bespoke champagne fridges, and specialty glassware remind you this is more than leather and wood, it's lifestyle curated to the millimeter. Rolls even offers full bespoke commissions, meaning clients can have anything from monogram stitching to a unique paint shade mixed just for them. Prices start at $410,000 and push past $475,000 for the black badge. Though most owners spend much more through customization, because for royalty, tycoons, and those who buy Cullinans, the point isn't the cost, it's that there's nothing bigger, quieter, or more luxurious on the road. And that's the list from performance monsters to rolling thrones. The biggest SUVs of 2025 prove one thing: size is more about presence and personality, rather than just about dimensions.